Welcome, everyone. I call this May 26, 2020. I call this May 26, 2026 meeting of council to order at 5:01 PM. This meeting will be held in a hybrid manner where members of council, staff, and the public can participate electronically. This meeting is being live streamed and recorded and will be available on the township website. Notice is hereby provided that under the authority of the Municipal Act 2001 and in accordance with the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, that all information attained is considered part of the public record. All rules apply to the meeting as if everyone was attending in person, and if there is a problem with the technology impacting the proceedings of the meeting may be recessed. So now I would ask anyone who can to rise for the playing of the national anthem. We acknowledge that we are being hosted on the ancestral lands of the Haudenosaunee, Mississauga, and Omama-Winnene people. We acknowledge and welcome the presence of all Indigenous people, including the Métis, Inuit, and other First Nations from across this vast land who also make this place home. The lands we're on today are recognized in the Two-Row Wampum, Dish with One Spoon Treaty, Treaty 27, and the Crawford Purchase. Okay, so the first item up this evening, council, is a confirmation of the agenda. Do I have a mover? Councillor Broderick? You want to can you just read it?
Yeah, sorry. Here.
Okay.
I would move that the agenda of the May 26, 2026 meeting of council be confirmed as circulated.
Thank you. So moved. Seconded by Councillor Ennis. All in favor? Motion is carried. Any declarations of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof for this evening's meeting? Councillor Budrick.
I will be declaring for 5.2 in closed and the paperwork has already been submitted.
Thank you. Any other declarations this evening? Being none, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session. Deputy Mayor Townen.
I move that council now move into closed session to consider financial information relating to the W.J. Henderson Recreation Center renewal fundraising initiatives pursuant to Section 239(2)J of the Municipal Act, as well as a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied to negotiations relating to the Leisure Activity Center pursuant to Section 239(2)K.
So moved. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Broderick. All in favor? Motion is passed. We will go into close.
Tonight, it's just a beautiful.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. We actually started the council meeting at 5 PM. And we went into closed session until now. We're reconvening at 6:04. And I would just provide a rise and report that council provided direction to staff in closed session regarding recreation facilities and programming. We have no presentations or meetings. So the next one up is open forum. Excuse me. So 15 minutes of the meeting has been set aside for open forum. Any individual may address council regarding an item on the agenda, excluding matters under the statutory public meeting section on the same agenda. Each person will have 3 minutes to speak. Anyone wishing to speak can register in advance, which we did have one do. Otherwise, I will go in chambers first, ask if there's anyone that wishes to speak under open forum. And then I will go to the virtual audience and ask them to use the raise hand feature so they can be brought in. So at this time, we will go with the person that registered. There we are. Good evening, doctor. How are you? You're muted.
Good
Welcome.
evening. This is thank you so much. I appreciate the time and opportunity you have given me to speak in front of the council. May I start?
Yes, you can go ahead and proceed.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and members of council. My name is Dr. Raj Khanuja, and I am the founder of National Dental Care Day. National Dental Care Day started from one simple moment. Years ago, I met a single mother who was living with severe dental pain. She avoided treatment because she could not afford it. She told me she was saving every dollar she had so she could keep a promise to buy used hockey equipment for her child. She chose her child over herself. That moment stayed with me because dental pain is not just about teeth. It affects confidence, sleep, work, mental health, and dignity. That is why National Dental Care Day was created. What started as one free dental day has now grown into a national movement after 13 years of volunteer care. Last year alone, 219 Canadians received care across the country through volunteer clinics and professionals. National Dental Care Day was proclaimed by 25 municipalities, 3 premiers, and 2 lieutenant governors. It was also spoken about in the Senate of Canada by Senator Mohammed Iqbal Ravalia and entered into the Hansard parliamentary record. I'm requesting your town to proclaim National Dental Care Day because the need for dental care is not limited to one city or one region. It exists in every community. Dentistry is expensive, and not being able to afford care forces many people to live in pain, lose teeth, hide their smile, and lose confidence and dignity. Your proclamation helps bring awareness to this issue and encourages local dentists and volunteers to participate in providing free care for one day in your community to help people who would otherwise go without care. I thank you very much for your time, support, and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you for providing us with that information. And as you're aware, the proclamation is on our agenda for this evening, and council will be reviewing it and acting on it at that time later in the meeting. So you can stay online if you wish and see what happens, or it will be in the minutes.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. So that was the only one that registered for open forum. I'll go through the motions. In chambers, is there anyone that wishes to speak under open forum? Seeing none, I will go to the virtual audience. If there's anyone in the virtual audience that wishes to speak under open forum, please use the raised hand feature.
I'm not seeing anyone.
Thank you. That concludes open forum. Now we have delegations. The first one is the Odessa Agricultural Society. Request for waiver of emergency services fees. So if you would just like to come forward, there's some chairs here with the mic. Once you get seated, just push the bar at the bottom there and the light will come on green and you can go ahead and proceed. Typically, we will have a clock set up so that we can, but if you get close to being on overtime, I'll just let you know, that's all. There you go, you're ready to roll.
Good evening, Mayor Hagedorn, Deputy Mayor Townen, members of council, and community members. I would like to introduce myself. I'm Stephanie Guimau, Secretary and Volunteer for the Odessa Agricultural Society, and I'm here representing the Agricultural Society. The Fee and Services Bylaw was brought to the attention of the Odessa Agricultural Society by Deputy Fire Chief Mike Grenham. Deputy Chief Grenham stated that the Agricultural Society would be required to pay for the fire emergency services for the tractor pull and demolition derby at the annual Odessa Fair taking place July 24th to 26th. Based on the hours the fire department was required for these events in 2025, the cost would be $8,472.20 for the tractor pull and $3,230.52 for the demolition derby, totaling $11,703.20. These fees include the MTO's apparatus hourly rate and the hourly wage of each firefighter for these events. The Odessa Fair has been a staple of Odessa for 191 years and has traditionally relied on emergency fire services at no cost to us for fair events. This bylaw is a drastic increase to our budget that we had not foreseen. As a nonprofit volunteer-run organization, we do not have the reserve funds to cover the substantial cost increase to operate these community favorite events at the annual fair. The proceeds from the fair enable the Agricultural Society to continue to maintain the agricultural grounds and its buildings. The grounds offer a park-like setting for the community to enjoy, and the large palace building is a space for the community to come together. The Lions Club prepares the holiday baskets in this space, and free events for families such as See and Learn are held on the fairgrounds. The Odessa Agricultural Society partners with Loyalist Township for events such as Trunk and Treat. The Odessa Fair Board is asking council to waive the fees associated with the Fee and Services Bylaw and allow fire emergency services to continue their support for these events at our annual fair. Thank you for your time and consideration of our request.
Thank you. I'll just look to council. Are there any questions that you have this evening to present to the delegation? Ms. Not seeing Councillor Willis. There we are. You're back too now, Councillor Willis. I can see you. I'll just ask again if there's anyone that has any questions for the delegation this evening. Seeing none. Thank you very much for presenting this, and I will look to council for a motion to receive, and then if there's any action that you wish to take, to please add it on as well. Councillor Prodrick.
I would move that council receive the delegation request from the Odessa Agricultural Society.
So moved. Do I have a seconder? Seeing none. Is there any other motion that wishes to be put on the floor this evening? Councillor Ennis.
Through the mayor, I would move that council receive the delegation request from the Odessa Agricultural Society and to approve the request for waiver of emergency services fees.
So moved. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Bubrick. Any comments from the mover?
I think it's a long-standing event, a community event that's worth supporting, and I think perhaps if we support it this year, the organization could look to the community grant fund in the future as a possibility. But I think it's a long-standing event that we should continue to support. Thank you.
Without going too far out of order, just before we go any further, typically when we have a delegation like this, we also ask for a staff report if there's anything that we wish to understand going forward. That could be added to the motion, or there could be a subsequent motion made if there's if anyone wishes to see have a report come back with why this has been charged and what options may be available to be able to work with them as well, so that there's no surprises in future years. And I'm just throwing that out there for consideration. So.
Friendly amendment to add a staff report for this, please, if we could.
Mover? Brendan?
Accepted. Thank you.
Thank you. Made by the seconder, so good with the seconder. Any comments from the seconder?
Yes, I believe too that we should support anything that gets people in our community out, and such a long-standing tradition of the Odessa Fair, and even the tractor pull is fantastic. Great crowds, and it's great to see people in our community come out and support things. So yeah.
Any other members? Councillor Parks.
Thank you. This is more for the delegation. The fair is the first weekend in August, is it?
This year, it's been moved to July 24th, 25th, and 26th.
Okay.
A
What
weekend.
timeline would you need as a hard, fast date as to whether or not? I guess what I'm asking for is when the staff report would come back, if it's going to allow them enough time to either move forward with it.
The motion is to waive, so this year's would be waived. So then the report could come back, and with that would be consideration for future.
Thank you. That clarifies it.
Councillor Prodrick.
I would support the recommendation as amended. And I think one of the things, there's no doubt that over the years, this has been a very valuable, 191 years. I think that's wild. My grandparents were at that fair when they lived in Railton. And as we sort of move ahead, we want to quantify things just so we get an overall picture and put some agreements in writing so that year to year, you guys know and we know, and a staff report looking at that for next year. Maybe there's back and forth questions that can be answered, such as, do you really need 6 firefighters or whatever? I mean, things like that can come out of a report.
Thank you. Councillor Willis.
Just looking at the quote, it looks like there's a mix of costs that are associated with the actual labor of the firefighters and then equipment costs to be on the site. One thing that the staff report might suggest is some modification of the total. And I would encourage the delegation, because applications are still open for the community benefit funds until June 1st. And since they've already got their quote, I would encourage them to put an application in for the vibrancy fund, just in case.
Did you want to speak?
Just, it was suggested about applying for a grant for this money, but we are applying for another type of grant at this time, and we're unable to apply for two types of grants at this time. We were made aware that there is a grant available, but we're not eligible for it this year.
Thank you for that clarification. Was there anything additional, Councillor Willis, or you satisfied? Okay, thank you. Any other? Seeing none, I will call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. Thank you for providing us with the information. You're more than welcome to stay and enjoy the whole meeting, or if you wish, you can leave whenever you're ready. And the next up is a Kinsman Dream Home request for contribution. We have Mr. Forsyth on virtually. Welcome to the meeting. If you wish to go ahead, whenever you're ready, please proceed.
Thank you very much. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Good. I was having a few mic issues earlier. First, just thank you for giving me some time here to come in today. I'm super excited to let council know that I represent the Kinsman Dream Home. I'm actually the chair of the Dream Home we've done for 35 years. We're actually going to be doing it in the Loyalist community. We've partnered up with John Armitage, Brooklyn Fine Homes, who has made a deal with us. He's been working with me for a couple of years. We're super stoked with what he's doing in your community. And we've moved out of Kingston this year and kind of out to your direction. And I personally just kind of wanted to come and chat a little bit about what we do. If you're not familiar with Kinsman, we have no paid positions. We strictly do this for the good of everybody's community. Last year, I was able to raise $720,000 for 14 different charities. A lot of people, I'm sure, or at least I hope in this room, did buy a ticket. It was a complete sellout, which supported everything. All the money does stay locally back into our community. And it was just a super success. Now, part of that success is my job, and that's really coming out and talking to anybody and everybody who can help us out with the home. A lot of people think that you just, you make a deal, you buy the home, you flip the home, you sell the tickets. Today, it's just not practical. The only way we can actually make a profit from it is we have to work with our vendors, our builders, donators. We have multitudes of volunteers that will give their time. Some people will put in free labor. Other people do it in different ways. But part of what that role is for me is I'm the one who reaches out generally to the front contenders. And I'm happy to say I'm here to talk to you guys about this as well. Over the last little while, John has already started building the home for us. I can't share with you the address today. We do like to keep it top secret right till we get the build up for the tickets. But we generally request the fees for the building permits. In this case, your building and plumbing fees, development charges, water and sewer connection. You've got a total cost there of $38,180. In the past, in our past 3 or 4 homes, we've requested that those funds actually go towards be refunded back to Kinsman as part of our dream home costs and lowering our overall costs. We would then in turn take that and put it back into the community in generally a choice of council or a recommendation from someone with authority. For example, Rebecca would be probably who we'd be talking to, where we find a local charity of your choice, where we would give those funds back with one contingent, and the only contingent we ever put on anything for donations is that we must have a successful dream home. And a successful dream home means we didn't lose money. I'm happy to say in 36 of those dream homes, we've never lost money. In fact, the last 4 have been well over the 500,000 mark. So really today, I just wanted to kind of come and talk to you a little bit about it. I understand there's a community grant fund. We are going to apply for those funds to be picked up through that direction. Today was really just about letting you know what we're bringing to your community. If you're not familiar with the homes, basically for 3 months, we do very, very heavy advertising. We usually have about 5,000 to 10,000 people go through our home. Everything in the community will get impacted by many different areas. Everything from our advertising spend locally, right through to the charities that are in our area will come and actually volunteer at the homes. So in short, just want to let you know we're in your backyard. We're here to help, and we're really hoping for counselor services to support what we're after, and hopefully put our grant through and put some of those dollars back into the Dream Home Fund, which then in turn allows us to lower our overall costs, which then in turn allows us to do full donations. And that's about it for me. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you for that information and welcome to Loyalist. Council, any questions for the delegation this evening? Seeing none, thank you so much for being here, for introducing the yourself as well as the Kinsman Dream Home. And I'm pleased to hear that you're making the application for the funding to be able to reimburse for the costs. And it's great that any money that you can save goes right back into the community. That's very significant for the local community as well. So we want to thank you, and I'll go ahead and receive the delegation. And unless there's something additional you wish to share, we can receive it and proceed with our council meeting.
I only have one other ask, and please support us by buying our tickets. That's it.
That sounds very doable. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Council?
Have a great night.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
I move that council receive the delegation request from Kinsman Dream Home.
So moved. Seconded by Councillor Ennis. Any comments? Mover, seconder, others? Call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. Thank you again. Next item up is the 2025 operating surplus allocation. Welcome. I believe this is your first meeting up at the front, is it?
Yes, it is.
not?
Yeah, yeah.
Very good. Very
Dave finally
good.
got me out.
Well, welcome. So is there any additional information that you wish to share this evening, or just here to answer questions?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll just make a couple quick comments. I think the report's fairly self-explanatory. This is a report we bring every year based on our surplus policy for the township. I will note in the consent agenda, there is a fourth quarter financial update, which really goes into a lot more detail and gives a lot more information on kind of what makes up these surpluses. Just at a high level on the township side, the majority of the surplus is really coming from additional supplementary tax revenue and additional investment revenue. And on the utility side, the main revenue or the main surplus is coming from additional revenue that we received mainly due to a drier year last year. So we had a lot more usage. So, and again, it's basically laid out following our policy, and we're happy to answer any questions that council has.
Thank you. So council, we do have a recommendation before us. Would someone like to put a motion on the floor? Deputy Mayor Townend.
I move that the report from the Finance Division dated May 26, 2026, re 2025 operating surplus allocation be received, and that in accordance with the operating surplus and deficit management policy, distribution of general rate net surplus and recovery of utilities rate deficit be as follows. $574,534 allocated to the general rate capital reserve fund, $80,505 allocated to the working reserve fund, $150,000 allocated to salary reserve, $300,844 allocated to utility rate stabilization reserve, $325,986 allocated to water capital reserve fund, $325,986 allocated to sewer capital reserve fund, and $50,000 allocated to utility salary reserve.
So moved. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Broderick. Mover, any comments? Seconder? Other members? Call a question. All in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you. The next is the proposed fence and pool enclosure bylaw. Excuse me. Welcome. You turn your mics on if you're going to speak. I'll just ask, did you have any additional information to share this evening or just here to answer questions?
Just here to answer any questions.
Thank you. Council, we do have a recommendation before us. If there's any questions for clarification, we can take them. Otherwise, I would take a motion. You have a question for clarification? Please proceed.
Okay. Anything in this policy?
Through your honor, the bylaw does state that anything that are existing at this time do not have to be changed.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for clarification? There is a recommendation. Would someone like to put a motion on the floor? Councillor Willis.
Thank you. I would move that the report from the Development Services Division, May 26, 2026, re-proposed fence and pool enclosure bylaw be received, and that bylaw 2026-27, being a bylaw to prescribe the height, description, and requirements for fences and swimming pool enclosures within Loyalist Township, be enacted and passed.
So moved. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Broderick. Comments from the mover?
Yes, I would like to thank staff. I know that the original proposal that came before council quite some time ago was different, and that work's been done to address concerns with the stone fences and stone walls. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Seconder. Other members of council. I just have one question that I just remembered. In the policy, it uses the term Clearview as a area that needs to be with no fence in it. Is that the same as what the engineering department would call the clear zone, depending on the speed and of traffic and things like that?
I can't speak for what the engineering department determines for their clear zone. Clearview and clear zone are two different things.
They're different. Okay. I was trying to relate them, but that's why I couldn't then. Thank you. So if there's no further comments, I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now we are to the National Dental Care Day proclamation request. We did have the gentleman in open forum, Deputy Mayor Townend. And it is on the screen, so if you're making a motion, you can make it just as presented.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
Perfect.
I move to adopt the resolution as printed in the agenda.
Thank you. So moved, seconded by Councillor Parks. Any comments from the mover? Seconder?
No.
Other members of council? Call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. And I would take a motion to go into committee of the whole. Do I have a mover? Councillor Broderick, seconded by Councillor Ennis. All in favor? Motion is passed. We are going into committee of the whole.
Okay, we'll call committee of the whole to order at 6:32. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Traffic Calming Pilot Project 2025 Results and Recommendations. Carry on, Mr. McDonald.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and through you. So the traffic calming pilot project was something that was identified as a recommendation within the infrastructure master plan, which was approved by council in 2024. So coming out of that approval, council provided a budget to proceed with the pilot project, which was undertaken last year. And this report is outlining the various measures that were trialed on Amherst Drive and the outcomes of that trial based on public feedback, speed data, and operational input. Overall, I would say the trial was very successful. We were able to identify some preferred temporary measures to recommended to expand throughout various areas in the township, as well as we identified a few challenges that we had with a few measures that will not be recommended to continue any further, which is always valuable information to know what you don't want to do as well as what you do want to do. Ultimately, what we're recommending here is future expansion of the traffic calming measures in line with the recommendations that were coming out of the infrastructure master plan. One thing that I did want to note, which wasn't explicitly stated in the report, is that these measures have not been compared against the existing traffic calming policy from 2009. So that is why the recommendation is there to update that policy. That policy is written in a manner to be much more restrictive of permitting traffic calming measures, whereas the direction from council over the last few years has been to be more permissive of those measures. And that's why we've gone through this process of the pilot project and the recommended measures. So I just had noted that it wasn't explicitly stated that the measures that were recommended have not been compared against that policy, and that's why we are recommending to update it accordingly. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. I will turn to the committee. Councillor Broderick.
I noticed how you looked over towards me. First of all, thank you for the report. Very extensive. It's one of the areas I think I get most residents asking about: parking, speed, et cetera. And I just wanted to ask a few things and just clarify and maybe inform some of the residents. So rationale for removing traffic calming during the winter. I think I know what the answer is, but could you share your thoughts with us on that?
Yeah, so the traffic calming removal of the measures during the winter is primarily related to winter control. So when we're dealing with things like flat bollards or temporary concrete center islands and things like that, they're more likely to be hit by plows or, even get pushed over by snow and things like that. And so it presents a potential hazard in the right of way, and that's why they get removed.
Okay, and just in that same manner of thinking, is there anything that could be done in school zones or in front of the WJ, for example, high traffic pedestrian areas that in the winter might help out in terms of traffic calming?
Yeah, so in front of the WJ specifically, we've identified the inclusion of a proposed pedestrian crossing. And so the exact location would need to be defined through a detailed engineering design, but it's going to be approximately at the location of the old bus stop on the south side of Amherst Drive, dependent on a few different factors, which we still have to look at. So certainly that's what we're looking at there. When we were doing the pilot study, we were hesitant to do any temporary traffic calming measures while construction at the WJ was going on, as we didn't want to impact any of that access and egress until that project is finished. With that wrapping up this summer, we are recommending moving forward with that crossing. In terms of school zones, obviously over the last couple of years, we've worked to implement the community safety zones in those areas. And then as well, the recommendation in the report is to include temporary installation of the driver feedback signs. So these are the signs that flash your speed. The reason we move those feedback signs around is because we find that their effectiveness decreases over time. So the longer they're in one spot, the more people get used to them and the more they ignore them. So that's why we tend to move them around, but that's one measure that we can also include in the school zones.
Okay, and one last question. My stats professor in University will roll over in his grave, but in terms of percentiles, what does it mean in layman's terms, 8 kilometers per hour in the 85th percentile, a mean of 85% of drivers reduce their speed? Is that as simple as saying 85 out of 100 drop their speed by 8 kilometers per hour? Is that what that means?
It's a little more complicated than that.
In a general sense.
The 85th percentile represents the speed at which 85% of the population drives slower than.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean all 85% of that population reduce their speed by 8 kilometers, but it means that 85% of the population now drives slower.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
That's important. And again, I just want to, to summarize the report, I think you've got a fairly aggressive look at it, not worrying about a previous policy. And I think that's great because I think that's what residents need, and looking forward to a new policy, I guess, whenever that may come. Thank you.
Others? Mr. Mayor?
If I just follow up on that last comment, the 85th percentile, that's the standard number that's used in all traffic measures or any calculations. Luke by far explained it better than I could, but it is standard. And so it's used throughout Ontario, at least. I just have a few questions. With the temporary installations that were put in, like for permanent installations, there's like standards, provincial standards or whatever for them. Is there anything like that for the temporary installations, or is it just place them the best for the situation in that location?
Yeah, so in terms of the standards, there's no, for a lot of the temporary measures, there's not really typical drawings or details, but there are general guidelines in terms of spacing. So we're looking, when we're placing flat bollards, we're looking at lane widths and things like that, and also separation from various other elements within the roadway. And when we're looking at the placement of center medians, we're also looking at the turning radius of design vehicles and stuff like that to make sure that vehicles can move throughout the intersection and all the desired movements. So there's a number of guidelines that we are looking at, but there's no typical detail that I've come across anyways, that says, place a temporary concrete median here. As you said, for the permanent measures, there are a lot of details that we're always referring to. And so when we're placing the temporary measures, we're comparing that against some other details and using our best judgment as to how those apply.
Thank you. My next question, typically, when say you come to an intersection, you're turning left and you're approaching the end of the island, there's either a delineator or a keep right sign. Some of the ones I don't remember seeing them in some of the locations. If these are going to be reused and put out again, like the recommendation is, will there be any signs like that installed on those ends to try and help people not drive over the ends?
Yeah, we'll be putting those in. We had the keep right signs on the approach to the intersections, but not specifically on the intersection side itself. So going forward, we'll make sure to implement those with the keep right signs on both sides.
Okay. And just driver feedback sign, is that the flashing speed sign that we use on the county roads as well?
Correct.
Thank you. And if I may just make a comment at this time as well. Much like Councillor Broderick said, I'm very happy to see this come forward. With my background, this is one that I've been anxiously waiting for, and was very interested in the study that was done last summer. I like the way you've come up with a plan for the temporary measures, but also looking forward to permanent measures, including at the engineering design of new subdivisions, that the traffic calming measures can actually be built right into them to make sure that right from the start, they're as safe as they can be. So I like that we're looking forward. We're using the stats that we've got and what we've learned, and implementing it into the future as well. And so kudos to the report and the study, and I'm glad to see that it's proceeding. Thank you.
Other members of the committee? Councilor Broderick?
I'm prepared to make a recommendation.
I
if you
would accept a
it.
recommendation.
Thank you. I would move that the report from the Engineering and Environment Division dated May 26, 2026, traffic calming pilot project 2025 results and recommendations be received, and that the committee of the whole recommend for the approval of the measures as identified within the attached report, and that the committee of the whole direct staff to bring an updated traffic calming policy to the committee of the whole for consideration.
So moved, seconded by Councillor Buderick. Comments from the
I
mover?
think it's all been said. Thanks.
Seconder? Others? Yep. Councillor Ennis.
Oh, sorry. Feelings of safety on the road. So it's good work by staff and happy to see this come forward.
Absolutely. All right, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Can I get a motion to adjourn committee of the whole? Councillor Broderick, seconded by Councillor Buderick. All those in favor? Motion is carried. We are adjourned at 6:44.
Okay, so we'll reconvene the council meeting at 6:45. Are there any notices of motion to be presented this evening? Seeing none, are there any direct motions to be presented this evening? Seeing none. The next item is a consent agenda where items that can be dealt with similarly are lumped together, but can be extracted. Are there any that council wishes to extract this evening? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion. Councillor Broderick.
I would move that all items in the consent agenda dated May 26, 2026 be approved as presented and necessary action be taken.
So moved. Seconded by Councillor Parks. Any comments from the mover? Seconder? Other members? Call the question. All in favor? Motion is passed. Are there any announcements to share this evening? Deputy Mayor Townley.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Through you, I just want to acknowledge that today at Queen's Park, Bill 9, the legislation that standardizes codes of conduct across the province, passed third reading and is on its way to royal assent. This is something that the Association of Municipalities of Ontario has been pushing very hard. Obviously, the election, recent provincial election, interrupted its process through the House, and we've been hard on the government's case to reintroduce it, to get it in place before the next municipal election, which will now happen. I have to say, in our case, we're pretty blessed here in Loyalist Township with our politics. We have stern disagreements, of course, but I would say we're very fortunate, at least in the councils that I have been on, that we all respect one another and are conscious of our responsibilities in how we conduct ourselves. But that is not the case across the province, unfortunately. And so this is very welcome, the passing of this legislation. It passed 110 to 1 So again, the kind of unanimity across party lines in Queen's Park is also a signal of how important this is.
Thank you. Any other announcements this evening? Seeing none? Excuse me. I would entertain the confirmatory bylaw. Deputy Mayor Town.
I move that bylaw 2026-30 to confirm the proceedings of the Council of Loyalist Township be enacted and passed, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign and seal.
So moved, seconded by Councillor Ennis. All in favor? Motion is passed. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Councillor Budrick, so moved, seconded by Councillor Broderick. All in favor? Motion is passed. We are adjourned at 6:48.